Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, challenges at the new post office. Caribbean leaders sounding the alarm on climate change. The National Security Minister talks issues with those out on bail. Plus, we take a look at future plans for Clifton Pier.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquim. Top news tonight. It's been 5 months since the General Post Office moved into Town Center Mall, and staff there are already experiencing similar challenges to that at the old East Hill Street location, according to Bahamas Public Service Union President Kingsley Ferguson, who claims some workers broke out in skin rashes after being exposed to black water from a broken pipe. Jillian Gray has more.
A little over a week ago, workers at the General Post Office at Town Center Mall had to be evacuated from the building because of a gas leak. Just a few weeks prior, a busted pipe spewed black water on workers and mail bags. Bahamas Public Service Union President Kingsley Ferguson said the problems at the new post office seem to be piling up, and he is concerned for his workers.
In the face of the fact that the pipe busted, now there's smoke coming out of the vents. And so it almost is apparent that this environment is not conducive to productivity. And so we're going to have a talk with those persons responsible for the post office to find out what needs to happen, what is going to happen, and when it's going to take place.
Workers were moved to the new site following reports of rats and mold in their workspace at the old East Hill Street location. But just 5 months in, and the union president said the scene is shaping up to be similar to those adverse conditions. He added that workers are experiencing health challenges.
I spoke to an individual day before yesterday who apparently when a pipe busted, she was a recipient of some of the gunk that came out of the pipe, and it had some impact on her skin. I'm understanding now that that young lady is having a challenge getting a B44 form signed because the form asks the question, what has the employer done to rectify the situation?
Ferguson said they have heard nothing from the minister on the mounting issues. The BPSU plans to visit the site to see what other challenges are plaguing its members.
We're going to pay a visit over there. We're going to find out if there are any other challenges as it relates to the environment, and if it's necessary that persons remove themselves so that these things can be rectified, then that is what is going to happen, whether it's with or without the support of management.
The move to Town Center Mall was set to be complete by December of last year, but was postponed several times due to construction challenges. When it finally opened in May, controversy still whirled as many criticized the government for leasing the space from then-sitting Cabinet Minister Brent Simonet. Now, our news team reached out to the minister responsible for the post office, Renward Wells. However, no calls were returned up to airtime. Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jillian Gray.
Caribbean leaders have joined the call for nations around the world to address climate change. Yesterday, while addressing the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said the world needs to see climate change as the biggest crisis facing this generation. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, during her speech, made a powerful plea for world leaders to pay serious attention to the effects global warming is having on the Caribbean.
And it is we in the Caribbean and in the Pacific, in the oceans of the world, as small islands, we are the ones on the front line. But as I say to you all the time, make no mistake about it. Others are also in the line behind us. And as we would say in my own country, today for me and tomorrow for you.
But Mottley didn't stop there. The Barbados Prime Minister went on saying for too long there has been much talk about climate change, but very little action.
For over 3 decades, from the time when small island developing states first raised the global alarm in 1988, Commonwealth gave us a vulnerability index in 1989, the Barbados Program of Action 25 years ago, then Mauritius, then Samoa. How many more? How much more talk? And we're still here today, some of us singing the same chorus, as if there are many who are deaf and many who are blind among us.
Her sentiments were shared by Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who too stressed the importance of getting the world involved.
Jamaica has adopted several policies and legislative measures to reduce our vulnerability to natural hazards and to adapt to the impacts of climate change. This includes the development of a comprehensive and first of its kind public financial disaster risk monetary policy, with provisions for financial risk protection, including budgetary contingency funds and state contingent debt instruments.
Well, a historian at the University of the Bahamas says Hurricane Dorian's devastation is unprecedented. Associate Professor of History Dr. Chris Curry says the storm will go down as a generational event.
I think this will be like one of those moments where we say we will all remember where we were when Dorian happened, much like how Americans think about 9/11. They know exactly where they were, what they were doing, or an earlier generation with Pearl Harbor would have known where they were and what was happening when those events happened, or JFK's assassination. In our context, Bahamians will always remember where they were, what they were doing when Dorian hit. It's just one of those generational events in our country's history that are going to be imprinted in our minds and our psyche for centuries to come.
Curry says the storm wasn't the first of its kind. A 1929 storm wiped out the country's sponge beds, ruining one of the country's top industries. Curry says one thing is for certain, and that is future historians will have a lot more information at their fingertips.
As I'm sort of talking about 29 and 35, and we can surmise some things that are written down and some photographs we have of that. But the volume of information that we will have about Dorian, both video, archival documents, we have tons of pictures, photographs, video imaging, every kind of imaginable document is going to be there. And then you're going to have personal stories. People are writing down as we speak what they went through on a personal level. So you'll have diaries, you'll have official documents that you can use.
From the crime beat, a man is in custody tonight after police say he was found with 270 pounds of marijuana. According to police, just after 10 yesterday morning, officers searched a home through Churchville Avenue in Chippenham where they found 40 packages of suspected marijuana seen here in this picture. The drugs have an estimated street value of $270,000. The lone man in the home was taken into custody and is assisting police with this investigation. Still to come, the National Security Minister talks issues with those out on bail. Plus, a look at future plans for Clifton Pier. Stay tuned.